When I first envisioned Comic Connection, I wanted to create a mobile app that would connect comic fans with information, other fans, and shops near them, taking advantage of the mobile platform as much as possible. This first prototype was pretty much all smoke and mirrors. Clicking on buttons would bring you to readily prepared other screens. I'm delighted to say that this next version of Comic Connection has grown up a fair bit and now goes a long way towards connecting comic fans with the latest official news from the major publishers, the latest in social media about the major publishers, and will actually take you to a local comic book shop. Since I also had to include Google Maps API call, I've also added something a little bit fun that I think people will find entertaining. Let's take a second and walk through each one of these functions. I eventually intend to have the Go to Comic Vine button allow the user to search for individual characters or titles using the Comic Vine API. Unfortunately, the Comic Vine API is terribly documented and I was not able to include that in this iteration. For now, clicking on that button will bring users to the Comic Vine website, which allows them to search on their own. Find Local Comic Shop will use the phone's location to determine the closest bookstores that sell comics. If it can't find the location of the phone, it will use a default zip code built in through this preference screen. Clicking on Latest from Newsarama will open up a RSS feed with the latest headlines from that website. Clicking on one of these entries will then take you to the Newsarama website where you can read the individual article from their mobile site. When the user selects @Marvel on Twitter or @DC on Twitter, that will launch an asynchronous task to gather those feeds. Just like in the Newsarama RSS reader, clicking on one of these news items or one of these tweets will bring the phone to that particular user's timeline, allowing the reader to decide whether or not they want to follow this person or get in touch with them privately. The number of tweets downloaded by the phone at any one time is controlled also by that preference screen that I showed previously. As we scroll down the application a little bit, you'll see that there are a few more options, two of which do the same thing. Clicking on even Marvel videos or DC videos will bring you to those respective companies' YouTube channels, and it'll kind of give you an idea about what videos or multimedia those companies want to highlight. Selecting Search for Comic Books in Google Play will first check to see if Google Play is installed on the phone. If Google Play is installed on the phone, it'll launch that service and present what are the latest applications available for comic books in the App Store. If Google Play is not installed, what it'll do instead is launch the website so that people can still get this same view. Since the project required a call to the Google Maps API, I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with it and create something that I called the Flying Superhero View. This uses the Google Maps API to load the current location, face the viewer east, and have a 30-degree tilt in their outlook, giving what I thought looked like the view from above as if you were a flying superhero. The code for all of this is pretty unremarkable. Most of it is items that we talked about in class. If I'm proud about one bit of code here, it is the custom tweet list adapter and tweet downloader. I was able to encapsulate that functionality so that I could use it twice, depending upon whether I was calling the @Marvel feed or the @DC feed. That's it for this iteration of Comic Connection. I'm looking forward to see where it goes in the future. I actually understand that this application is going to be used at a local legal conference, or rather an international legal conference, to kind of show the possibilities of a social aggregator as it applies to law firms. And I'm looking forward to listening to my boss share my work. I'm Rex Balboa, and this is my project for this session of the Android development class.